Hello there again. So, the next big album that dropped this Friday was Denzel Curry with King of the Mischievous South Vol.2. So, if you look at the critic score and the user score, they're actually vary a good amount. So, the user score is at 80%. So, the general public still really enjoys this project, myself included. But the critic score is at a 68%. Now, I'm wondering it's because we came off of Melt My Eyez, See Your Future, which was probably Denzel's best foot forward when it comes to being a little bit more conceptual, being more introspective, really expanding his sound, kind of going into more jazz and kind of these more kind of intricate pockets of rap that he has explored a couple of times. But I think this album was basically his full realization of what he can really bring to a project when it comes to a story, when it comes to a concept, when it comes to the writing, and when it comes to the production. I think Melt My Eyez, See Your Future. I definitely I think I take it over Taboo at this point. I think that this album is Denzel Curry in his peak form. I think he can still drop an incredible album. I don't know if you'd be able to top Melt My Eyez, but I really hope that's the case. So usually what happens is that after usually this highly conceptual, more introspective personal record, you usually get something that's a little bit more laid back, something that's a little bit more aggressive, something that's a little bit more taking it back to basics. Saw it with Taboo. You had Zoo that followed right afterwards. You have Melt My Eyez, See Your Future. You have King of the Mischievous South Vol.2. And what I really like about this project is that it is short. It's about 34 minutes long, and it is all gas, no breaks. Oftentimes, I've always thought about having an album that just does not stop with the momentum, does not stop at the pace, especially when it comes to rap, because oftentimes you have these albums that are just constantly just going balls to the wall like 100 miles an hour the whole way through. And then I often find sometimes the album slows down so much to the point that it breaks the pace, it breaks the momentum, and then you have a problem where it just has a difficulty climbing back up to that momentum that it started off with. I don't think King of the Mischievous South Vol.2 has that. I think this is one of the few projects that I've heard in the rap kind of genre that really just keeps the foot on the gas. And even if it does take it off from 100 to like 80, when you think of Cold Pimp and when you think of Wishlist, for example, it's still high octane, it's still aggressive, it still has this really gritty nature to it. And this album is just kind of harkening back to that Memphis sound that's just very gritty. Sometimes it's a little bit cloudy there as well. And overall, you just get a really fun package. There really isn't much to discuss, anything that's like intricately deep or really just crazy conceptual, anything like that. This is just a fun rap project, and it's a very collaborative project. Oftentimes, you'll have 1 to 2 features on songs, and they all gel off each other fantastically. Hot One was a single. You have A$AP Ferg bringing his trademark kind of yelling kind of vocals. And then you also have Tia Corinne, which I haven't heard before, but I originally did not like her delivery. But the more I listen to it, the more it just makes sense. And Denzel Curry just really sets the tone off really nicely. And the hook gain on this album is also fantastic. I can also think of Black Flag Freestyle with the Mexican OT, probably one of the best features on the project there as well. G's Up is probably my favorite song on here. The way that song has just the slower kind of tempo of the beat, but then you have these operatic like vocals just playing through. It just adds this kind of darkness and also this just really hard beat that just goes in contrast with each other. And Mike Dimes brings an incredible performance. And it's another example where the hook is just works out so well. It is so catchy. It is so easy to repeat and just it will get stuck in your head. Hoodlums, I did not listen to it when it came out as a single. I'm thankful that I didn't listen to it when it came out as a single. Play That Boy Zay kind of starts off the song with a higher pace. The beat is so just squeaky. It's a little bit kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, but man, it's tough. It is hard. And A$AP Rocky just fits on these Memphis kind of sounds absolutely brilliantly. And I really like kind of when he goes into the second half of the verse that the verse is so off kilter in the flow and in the flow pattern, but in the way it is so offbeat, but it sounds so perfect. Like, I don't know how ASAP does it. He is one of the best rappers I've ever heard when it comes to using these crazy intricate pockets and flows, and he just sounds fantastic on it. And not to mention Denzel Curry with the yelling kind of vocals on the chorus. It's just perfect. And there's a lot I can say that it's just going to be very repetitive. Hit the Floor. I really like the mixing actually on the chorus of Hit the Floor, where it just sounds like Denzel Curry is just in this cavernous room that's just really empty, and he's just kind of shouting the stuff. And I think Ski Mask brings a better feature than he did on 11th Dimension on this record. And I think Ski Mask is just really at home with these very aggressive and very just kinetic and frantic Florida type sounds. I think this song works out the best for him. And Set It is another great kind of slower pace kind of song that brings a pretty decent Maxo Cream feature. Just overall, like, this album is just catchy. It's fun. It's just rambunctious. It's rebellious. It is very smooth flowing. And it's just 34 minutes of straight bangers. I don't know what else to say. There are some portions of this album that I do find does set it back a little bit. One thing is actually, while it is a short project at 34 minutes, I do kind of wish that we got at least one or two more tracks to make the album kind of close off just a little bit better. From Wishlist to the interlude, actually no, it's Hit the Floor to Hoodlums. It is a very quick turnaround, and I don't think ending it off there would have been the best. I feel like if you could have just threw in one more kind of banger before Hoodlums, I think the album would have ended off a little bit more smoothly. I find it just ends off a little bit too abrupt, but that's kind of a good thing because it makes me leaving wanting more, and I've played this album about 4 or 5 times over and over again. That's one of the biggest problems, and just very small minor issues when it comes to the features. I think 2 Chainz on G'd Up doesn't really provide much. It's a very much kind of repetitive. It's kind of just filling space. And the moments that 2 Chainz does offer some vocals and offer some verses, it sounds so good. Like the Jesus Crossed Him line, I really like that one. But a lot of it is just mosh pit, mosh pit, mosh pit, mosh pit. It's just, I get it that it's building up energy. It's building up this kind of crescendo into back to the chorus. But I do wish that 2 Chainz offered a little bit more. And Armani White on Wishlist. Denzel Curry does bring this fast. It brings this kind of fun, this very just skittering and energetic flow to the song. And Armani White does the same thing. But there is a portion of his rapping that kind of goes into this very cartoonish kind of villain kind of sound. It's like Vins for Vendetta. And while it does make the song kind of more laid back, not too serious, I think it's just a little bit too goofy for this song. That's just really my personal preference. It's very minor. But I think Armani, yeah, it's Armani White. I almost said Armani Caesar. But Armani White, I think, is probably one of the weaker features on the album as well. But overall, I think this album is very, very good. I really appreciate, again, how trim it is. While I do wish there was a couple more tracks added onto it, I still appreciate how cohesive the listen is. I just love that it's just straight bangers and all gas, no brakes, and nothing else. With that, though, it's funny because I've really enjoyed this project, but there's part of me that still wanted just a little bit more. So I think overall, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I still really, really enjoyed this project. I'm returning to it a crazy amount. But it's just a question of long-term longevity with this album, of how much I'm going to return to it, especially towards the latter end of the year. I feel like I've gotten everything that I need to out of this record. That's just my personal opinion. While I still really enjoy it, I feel like I may have seen everything that this record has to offer. Still, though, there's some amazing tracks on here, and you're probably going to see at least one of these show up on my Songs of the Year list. So thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. what do you think about this record? Do you love it? Do you not like it so much? And thanks for giving me your time, and I will talk to you again soon.